Welcome to Bandit's Keep Actual Play. I'm Daniel. Today we are continuing my solo original Dungeons & Dragons campaign using Chainmail and Outdoor Survival. I'm working with my, we'll call them the lower level party at this point, the Foxes. They had been in camp for multiple months, and last time they went out they had effectively completed a map. There's still another level to it, but they had paid for it, so we're going to see where they go now. Okay, it is October the 13th, and my third group of adventurers, the Foxes, are ready to go out on an adventure. So this is my one group that actually went back to camp properly, so I don't need to do any messing around with this. We can just play them straight. However, when we finished last time, they had actually accumulated enough treasure to pay off the map that they had got from their patron, which means that the patron would want to get another map for them to go on another adventure. They could theoretically go back on their own accord and clear that third level of the dungeon, which they might do eventually to get some cash. But because they're still under contract, or however you want to say it, with this patron, they're going to, do one of these things first. I think with this much time going by, they're going to have to do this first. Now, unfortunately, this is a factor of me missing a bunch of time, is that there were 2 maps available when last I checked. Now, I'm probably going to jump back. You're going to see like some footage that I shot, hopefully. If not, I'll put a little thing here. In July, where I did some checks to see what maps were sold and blah, blah, blah. And what remained were these 2 maps. It is now, as I said, July 7th. Last time I checked these maps was in May. So what we're going to do, if you remember, each month I roll a d6 on a map each month that goes by, and on a roll of a 1, or maybe it's been a 6 in the past, but it doesn't matter, a 1, the map has been sold. So first I'm going to roll for each one of these maps. It's been 2 months. I'm going to roll 2 dice. And if the map has been sold, I'll take it off the board, and then we will also figure that out in the mapper part of the game. But if whatever's left, the party can choose from to buy. Okay, and I'm starting here. So that map's available. I'm going to go down. So I'm going to go this way. So that's available. That's available. Wow, there's not a lot of adventuring parties buying maps lately. That's available still. Okay, good. Available. Okay, this one's gone. This one's also gone. Okay, so the 2 maps that are gone. This one, this one was to a vampire/wraith lair. Had potential of some gems and jewelry, so pretty valuable, but gone now. And this one was just a simple skeleton area, a very basic potion of animal control, which, isn't that interesting anyway. So these 2 have been sold, and I will, again, deal with that in the mapper game. So we have these available to us. Now, I remember there being several of these small ones. It might be worthwhile for the party to pick up a couple small ones and maybe get them on the way, because their other location, right, the map that they know about is over here somewhere. I'd have to look, but it's somewhere in this direction. And I think a lot of these maps are in these areas somewhere. So, like this one is 3.5 from the thing and 9.5 this way. So this map here is somewhere over here. That might be worthwhile to buy because we're going to be over there anyway. So maybe we'll take a bigger group with us and just kind of hit both places if we can. It might be a long time in the field, but it might be worth it if we bring like a little bit of a party with us. This one is probably somewhere in the middle section and near the bottom, so that's on the way. So this one's definitely a good option. This one is kind of in the top over there, so that's not the best place for me. This one's up here, actually. I could scoot up there. It's 2 over, 4.5 down, so it's like around here. We could just ride up there and get it. That'll probably take like just a couple of days, because it's only a ghoul's lair. And then come down and, yeah, you know what? I think we're going to do that. We're going to purchase this map. Nope. This map, which is to a potion of flying and clairvoyance, which could be useful, flying especially. And we're going to pick up this one, which is a map. This one's orcs and a Balrog. Oof. Balrog is also tough, but it's kind of on the way, and I think we might be able to get in there and recover a little bit of treasure and come back. I think we're going to do it. We're going to pick this up, and it is going to change our composition a little bit because we're going to be stopping along the way. So we're going to take these down, and let's see. We've had some maps that were sold, so I'm just recording this now so I can keep track of it. I normally just put a note next to it so I know it's sold, but since I have the camera set up, I'm going to do this quickly. and then we'll get going on the rest of this. So this was a map from Cedric. This is why I keep track of this. Cedric. We can see the amount that they sold for. So 100, 200, 1938. What I do is on the back of the card here, I'll enter that as profit, and of course, change their balance to their bank account. But as important as that is, that's how they get experience points. So I'm going to add this together. So that'd be like 2238. They're going to get 2238 in experience points. And when they get to they can actually level up. I level up based on the fighter chart. And that's relevant here because Vani sold this very expensive map of 3,630. And if we look at where right now she's got 14,679 experience points, she had 16,000 to level up. So she's going to level up based on this map. So I'm going to do all this math and then put it down. And the next time which will probably follow what you're listening to right now, you'll see that Vani will be, in fact, level 5 as opposed to level 4 as she was in the past. We last checked for July, so I need to check for August, September, and October. So I'm going to roll 3d6, first for this map and then for this map, to see if somebody has bought the map that's not the party members. If the maps are sold, obviously we won't have access to them. If one of them sold, we'll probably take the other one. If both of them are sold, well, then we'll just have to figure that out. So let's start with the top map here. This is a map which might be tough for them anyways, going to a giant's lair with manticores. It's quite valuable, but let's see. Okay, that map's still available because it's pretty tough. The second map, which is actually fairly close to them, is a map just to a white's lair with some potions. Now, I actually think that this is a pretty good one for this party as a kind of a quick one to nail down, because we have a cleric in the party and we have some third level adventurers which can fight a white, which we'll get into if that happens. But let's see if this map is still here. It is. Okay, so both maps are available. But because I like to let things be, random, I'm going to say 1 through 4, the patron buys this map and sends them out. 5, 6, they buy this one. Okay, so actually, they forego this one. And I think what I'm going to do here is I think the party themselves are going to buy this map because it's fairly cheap and they could use some potions. They don't really have a whole lot of magic items, so this might be useful to them. So I think I'm going to have them, because they have their own cash. I think they're going to buy this as a side quest, and the patron's going to buy this one. So obviously they have to do what they're obligated to do first. So we're going to set up now to go on the adventure to retrieve this map in 3.5 up, 9.5 over, which is way down at the bottom of the map. So we're going to have to prepare for that. So let me get some stuff ready and we'll come back. The foxes are going to kind of do something a little bit sneaky because looking over here on the map, that's the map they bought themselves. I believe that's a day away, maybe 2 at the most, on horses. So what they're going to do, because they need to spend some time recruiting some troops, because I think to fight the giants in the Manticore, we're going to want some horse archers. Like we did that once before, not this group, but to go after the centaurs. I think it's just a smart way to go. So we're going to put the word out to find some horse archers, and we're going to end up getting anywhere from 10 to 60 available, although that's not how many we're going to take, and I'll talk about that when we get there. But I think what we're going to do is set out on the 16th here. Sorry, the 13th, and we're going to make our way to the white lair. And now, of course, this is a very small stash of treasure, and it's kind of in the open. So I'm going to say this is some kind of like grave site, maybe, or like a battle where some, something evil has passed over and raised some of the dead bodies into whites. So that's kind of what we got here. They've got a little like a barrow kind of in the ground here. So we're probably not going to do a map or anything. We're just going to kind of go in there and do some kind of a combat. We don't know how many are there, so we're going to find out when we get there. So here we go. Day 1. So we're starting in the clear. Of course, we're up here, right? Using outdoor survival. In the clear, we have on a roll of a 1, we are lost. And we are on horses, so we have 10 movement points. The clear only takes 1 point to move through. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're right next to it. Okay, so we didn't quite get there in one day, but that's okay. This is going to be a fast combat, though, so I'm probably going to allow tomorrow for us to get half a move after we do this. So first of all, though, let's see if there's an encounter. In the clear, there's an encounter on the roll of a 6. There is. Okay. Well, have we made a mistake? That's the question. All right, so we have We left on 10:13. I'm making notes over here. And 1 day has gone by. We just took like a week's rations with us. Now we're going to go back to town and pick up the rest of our loot before we go. So we're just the party right now. No henchmen. There's 6 of us on horses. We've got, well, I guess it's been a while since I've used this group. So, well, let's do this encounter first. Then we'll talk about the group. So we're in the clear. I'm going to roll a d8. 2. A flyer. Okay, interesting. If it came up undead, I was going to possibly say, although I guess undead doesn't come up here. If it came up as undead, I was going to say it was probably the whites. So since it's a flyer, though, we're going to roll on the flyer table. I believe it's D12. Got 10. Oh, pegasi. That's actually a positive. Oh, that's really interesting. So this is a lawful creature. We actually had this happen before we encountered pegasi. They're not going to fight us. The question is whether or not we want to try to befriend them. And because that would be fantastically useful, although there's way too many of us to, I doubt there'll be, well, let's see how many there are. I say that, but there might be a lot of pegasi. If there's enough, we might be able to, though we really don't have any place to go. So as much as this would be a cool story, and I'm quite sure my players would definitely try to do this, I don't know that it makes any sense. There's 1 to 12 here. If we get maybe a really good reaction, maybe we can come back here and, there's only 5 of them, so there's not even enough for all of us. It wouldn't even be worth it unless we were trying to just send somebody really quickly. How fast do they travel? Pegasi. Wow, they fly 48. And obviously terrain doesn't matter when you're flying, which means they could actually fly in 1 day all the ways to where we need to go. Boy, it's almost worth it to send somebody to scout out what's there. But we're not going to do that. Let's just see if we can befriend them, though. So, of course, we're lawful. I'm going to use the, I don't know if I use these yet on this, the Newell dice. This is by Tower House. They're the same people that do these guys here that I've talked about before. They're D10s, but they're shaped like D20s, so you get the good rolling. So we basically roll these, and it's reaction roll, but what you do is each one also has a symbol on it to kind of give you a little bit more of a narrative. So let's see. Because we're going to stay here. We're not going to try to avoid them. We're going to try to interact with the pegasi. Hopefully we don't get a negative reaction, a fight. Okay, so I'm choosing the top one first, because you take them in order. So 6, that's a heart. And 2. Now, do we have a charisma? I don't think I've got anybody with a charisma bonus or penalty. I'm looking at the average of the group, because we're just seeing them, and we're all standing here. So far everybody is 0. So, here's a 14. I don't think a 14 gives a bonus, though. An 11. Does 14 charisma give you a bonus? I did not mark it if it does. It should, I would imagine. Let's see. 14 charisma. Oh, yeah, +1. All right, so we can change this 2 to a 3 if we want. I'm going to decide that. Actually, I guess that's... Let's see what 2 is, because what this is 8, right? So 8 is a neutral reaction. We know that, but we read the dice. So the heart is a positive. That means they like us. I know that from using it once before. I'm not sure about this wing thing. Let's see. The wings, heart plus wings. Kindness may keep them from running or convince them to leave you alone. If we up it 1 with the +1, the friendship is for sale. That's interesting. What would a pegasi want? You know, I don't know that we could really win over a pegasi, because I think of them as being intelligent, but intelligent like horses, and we don't have a way to talk to them. So I think at this point we're just going to say, if we're going to make another reaction roll because we're going to approach them. We'll take some of our feed, the good feed, the oats that we give our horses, and we're going to actually make an approach, because we're going to try to make friends with them. It's always a good idea to make friends with pegasi if you can. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another reaction roll with a +3. Oh, double 6s, and I got a +3. Okay, we have some friends. I'm going to make a note of that. So the question is this their lair? So we can come back to them, because we may want to use their services. And we know that basically we can get them to do stuff for us if we offer them something. We just don't know what, I guess food was what we had to offer them. It actually worked out. Okay. So what am I looking for? Oh, what's their lair? Look at that. Man, I wish there were 6 of them. But there's 5. That's the way the dice go. Let's see. Oh, it says nil. So they never really have a lair. They just roam around the area. So we're just going to say that if we have to encounter them or we come to this area again, we can try to find them. And if, we'll give us some kind of a chance of doing that. But for now, we just have a good reaction with them. They fly away into the sunset. It's pretty awesome. But that's where we leave it. And the next morning we roll. Do we get lost? We do not. We only have to move 1 to go to the hex that we're going into. All right, so here's where we get into the whites. If we didn't need all of our fighters to fight these whites, I would have sent one of the people on with the pegasi to scope that area, give myself some kind of an idea. So since we don't really know what's down there, actually it would be great too to fight the Manicore with pegasi. Oh man, okay, nope, can't do it. Such is life, right? All right, here we go. Whites. How many whites do we encounter? So whites are typically 2 to 24. So let's hope for a small number. 5, 6. Okay, so there's 6 of them. No, that's not too bad. There are 6 whites here. Now, this could be pretty bad for us if we don't approach this correctly. So we're coming here searching them out, and they're in some kind of a graveyard. We're going to attempt to attack them. So the way it works is, just to be clear, some creatures, like whites, are fantastical. And fantastical creatures can only be hurt by things that can fight on the fantastic table. Or some creatures, like whites, are vulnerable to magic and silver. So we happen to have silver arrows for our bows, but in addition to that, our characters, most of them anyways, that can shoot bows are actually... Okay, so let's take a look. So this seer, this elf, cannot fight. Well, they can fight a wizard -4, which would be terrible. So they really can't fight. However, if they use a magic, sorry, not a magic, magic or a silver arrow, then they fight as hero. So they can actually shoot an arrow and fight as a hero. This one here, again, same thing. Magic user is not of a level that they can fight as a hero, but with a silver arrow they can. Now, what's interesting here is our dwarf is a fighter, right? He can actually fight his hero -1, but again, if he uses a silver arrow, he'll fight his hero. So he's also going to use a silver arrow, and so on. Here's another fighter, same thing. They will use a silver arrow because of that. Again, the next fighter, the only person that can't use a bow at all is the cleric. The cleric, however, can turn undead. So what we're going to do is the following. Assuming that we are not surprised by the whites. So we're going to move up. How fast are these things? Okay, they're not even faster than they were. Okay, so we're going to move up on the whites and effectively with our, I kind of feel like undead could scare horses away. That seems like a thing. So let's actually do a little die check here. First, we're going to say, this is an oracle. Roll the bones. We're going to say, do we know whether or not horses might be afraid of undead? Okay, so we got no, no, yes. So, which means no, we don't know that. And typically, the next roll was going to be, would they be? And I rolled a skull, so I'm going to say they absolutely can be. So if the undead get within like 6 inches of them, then the horses might panic on us. So we're not going to try to let that happen anyways, but that's just something to keep in mind. So now we're going to roll for surprise. The black die will be the monster, whether or not they're surprised. The white die will be whether or not we're surprised. Okay, nobody is surprised. So now we're going to roll a distance, okay? This is going to be the distance away that we encounter the whites. Hopefully not within 6. Oh boy, we encountered them within 4. What I'm going to do here, just because I think it'll be fun or simple, is I'm just going to move this guy here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just going to use this so we can see the distances. Now, because I rolled and I said the horses can be scared, what we're going to do is we're going to make the horses make a morale check. Each horse is going to make a morale check, and if it fails, it's going to bolt. So we're going to do that before we do anything else. So I'm going to go down the line, starting with the elf at the top, and I'm going to make a morale check. They've got to get a 7 or better to not run. Okay, they stay. They stay. They do not, so their horse is bolting. their horse bolts. Fantastic. And, oh, that's going to be bad because, yeah, well, if they roll a 6, it'll stay. Oh, if I can just get inside the thing. Oh, okay. They're good. And finally, the cleric. Their horse does not bolt. It's a holy horse. Okay, so now at 4 inches away, the whites are gonna move up to us. Now, if we win initiative, we are going to back up and shoot our bows, because when you're on a horse, you can do what's called a split move and fire. You can move half your distance, shoot, and then move again. And it happens during the movement phase, which means it happens before the enemy moves. That's good for us because we can get a bow shot off. But even if we don't, they are 4 away. Their movement is 9, so they have to move half their movement to get to us. If they need to do that, we will still get a shot at them. It's just that then they'll be able to engage us. So let's do this first. Let's roll initiative. Black is the enemy. Okay, simultaneous. I usually re-roll that. I mean, you could do simultaneous if you really want to, but if that's the case, they start to move, we just back away. I mean, it doesn't actually really matter. You know, they start to come forward. We're going to move away half our movement. So the way you would do simultaneous is they would move 4.5, right? We would then move half our movement. On a horse is 24. So we would actually move out of their range anyways. We would move 12 and stop. So that would leave us about 8 away. Okay. And then we're going to fire. And of course, they're going to move the rest of theirs. And then, you know, in the end, basically, that's where we're going to end up. So we're going to fire our bows now. Actually, let me check this. When we go into combat, because now we're in fantastical combat. So when you are in fantastical combat, basically it happens in its own phase, or it happens in the phase, the first round, it happens in the phase that would normally take place. So it's going to take place in the missile fire, which is before magic. Okay, I was just checking that. All right, so we're going to shoot our bows before we get to try to turn the undead. So here we go. Again, we're using fantastical combat, and the way this works is whites have 3 hit dice. This is going to be important. So there's 6 whites. So I'm making a note over here. I'm basically writing the number 3 6 times. And what we're going to do is the heroes, well, all the people shooting. So this first elf is going to shoot. And she's going to shoot as a hero because she's using a silver arrow. And if we look at Fantasy Combat, which again, you can download on my Patreon for free, all this stuff if you actually want to see the charts. But if we look at Fantasy Combat, basically a hero versus a white needs a 6 or better. So if they roll a 6 or better, they're going to do their hit dice and damage against one of the whites. They rolled a 6. Okay. Now that is could technically be a clash, which would mean that if the white hits them, then neither one does damage, but the white's not going to be able to hit them because they're too far away. So basically they're going to do the damage. So I'm just going to mark it off now. The second elf is also shooting. They're actually 1+1, which doesn't actually affect anything in combat. So it's going to be the same. They need a 6 to hit. They miss. No, they miss. That 1 means that they break their weapons. So basically they actually they'll drop a break. Well, we have break if it's a mundane weapon. So they actually pull back their bow and it snaps the bowstring. So they're actually out of this combat until they can fix that. So they're gonna have to run back. This dwarf is also a hero because he's using the silver arrow, and he's going to shoot. He also needs a 6. He hits. Now, he actually has 3 hit dice, so he completely kills one. And then, now, again, that happens at the halfway point. So just to be clear, these guys would have moved 4.5. These guys can move up to 12. So they would have wanted to stay close enough so the whites continue to follow them. So they're only going to back up about 9. But let's say they back up the same. They basically keep the distance. They back up 5. So they move the same distance. Then they shoot their arrow, and then the whites move their second half, and then they also get simultaneous. So then they also back up. So we basically maintained the distance. Actually, we're going to, sorry, I say they maintained the distance, but they didn't. They're actually going to go 8 away. And the reason why they want to be 8 away is that way it'll make it so the horses will no longer be frightened. But before any, again, we have to deal with this right now as well. But before we do that, let's get into the the cleric. So the cleric can try to turn the undead, which is basically going to make the whites run. I don't think she needs to do that yet. So she's actually going to stay with the party and not do that. And the reason for that is you can only do it once with a particular group of undead. And right now we're not in danger, right? Because we have plenty of distance on them. Even if they win initiative next time, again, because we're... Oh, actually, no. If they win initiative, they can move. We should have stayed 9 away. But I said 8. So if they win initiative, they can actually get to us. We'll get another shot at them, but they can get to us. But not these guys, because they bolted, right? So they ran their full distance away, which means they need to spend the round coming back. So they're also out of the combat temporarily. So let's roll initiative. Okay, we win, which is good. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to back up, except this time we're going to make sure we leave 9 in the end between us. We're going to back up, and these 2 characters are going to shoot their bows at the whites. First one does enough damage. Does 2 more, but that's enough to kill that 1 white. So 2 whites are down now. And the dwarf does enough to kill another white. So we currently have 3 whites left. Again, the cleric is going to hold off on turning undead. At the end of this round, this distance is still maintained, and these guys come back. And they, of course, are not. The horses are no longer frightened because of the distance. So we go into what was effectively going to probably be the last round, because when we look at this, it's incredibly difficult for the whites to get us now because we've given ourselves enough space. But, we'll just run through it. Let's roll initiative. We win again, so we can easily back up. The first character shoots. They miss. Second character shoots. They hit and do 3 points, which kills the white. Third character shoots. They miss. Fourth character shoots. They miss. Okay, so maybe I said it was wrapped up, but there's 2 whites left. And again, undead do not flee, right? So they're coming. Actually, they move slow enough. So just to be bold this time, the cleric's actually going to turn the undead. And then when they start to run, the party on much faster horses are going to ride up on them and try to cut them down. I think that just makes more sense, because if we play this game, they might actually catch us. You know what? Let me give it a 50-50 chance. If I roll even, then we'll charge them effectively. Turn undead, then charge. Actually, no. I'll do it this way. If the turn undead works, then we'll do it. So she needs a 7 to turn undead, which she does. So the whites start running, and all the fighters, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, just the fighters. And no, the cleric can't either. So these 3 fighters ride up on the 2 remaining whites. So now they need a 7 because they're hero -1. Let's see. The dwarf misses. We probably should have done the first thing. They're going to ride past, hit them, and keep going because they have enough movement to do that. The second one also misses. I guess we should have used bows. No, that did not work. Okay, so we ride up trying to be all heroic. We totally miss them as we run past them. And I'm going to say now that we've tried to attack them, they stop, and now we're going to be back in combat again. So now I have to do some math here, because they ran 9. Our movement's 24. So 20. Okay, so we're still more than their full movement away. So 9 minus 24. So we're 13 away now, which is still close enough to use the bows. So we are going to, once again, let loose with our bows. Again, doesn't matter who wins initiative here, but we'll roll it anyways. Doesn't matter. We're 13 away. If they move 9, actually, no, they'll be 4 away from us. So we're going to have to make rolls for all of our horses before we can shoot. Oh, boy. Okay. So it's these 4. This is what we have, trying to be bold. All right, here we go. They need to get a 7 or better on the first one. Okay, first horse is good. 7 or better. Second horse is good. 7 or better. Oh, yeah, no problem. All right. Well, I could use that in the combat. All right, so all of our horses are fine, and we're all going to shoot again. Again, we need a 6 to kill white, or to hit 1. Miss. Miss. Well, that's going to hit no matter what. Hit, leaving only 1 white left. If this dwarf can hit, then we'll finish off the last white. They do. Okay, that is the end of the whites. So we slay the 6 whites, and they collapse to dust in the ground. And we go to basically into their barrow, light a torch, and crawl down there and see what they've got in there. They have those magic items. Let's see if they have anything else. they normally have treasure type B. Usually if I do a lair like this, I will occasionally add stuff. So we'll see, since I did a full, I didn't do this before when I did the ghouls when I should have, because it was only supposed to be like one ghoul, and I messed up and made it a full bunch of ghouls for one potion, and that really wasn't fair to the technique that I use. So treasure type B. So there's 50% chance of copper, which we really don't care about. No copper. There's a 25% chance of silver. 28, no silver. There's a 25% chance of gold. No gold. Then we have 25% chance of each gems and jewelry. Oh, there's gems. No jewelry. Okay, so we find a couple of gems. 1 to 6. 1. All right, so we find an additional gem there. I'm not going to roll for the magic because there was already magic as part of the... So the gem is worth... Let's see. Hopefully don't roll low here. 92. Okay, 1,000 gold pieces. And then so when you do gems, once you have the base value, which is 1,000, you roll a d6, and if you get a 1, then it goes up to the next category. Yeah, so it's 5,000. Then we roll again. Nope, so it's 1 gem worth 5,000. Wow, this was definitely worth it. Oh, man. Okay, good. This group is happy about that. And, of course, the cleric's happy to have defeated the whites. So we had 6 whites. And then they also got the 2 potions. Okay, cool. So as I said, this fight didn't last very long, and it started basically first thing in the morning. So we're going to give ourselves half a movement back. So it'll basically take us 2 days to get back. So let's get back where we were. I'm not actually going to put them on the actual spot because I moved the thing and I don't remember where it was. But it'll take 2 days to get back. So on the first day, do we get lost going back? We do not. Is there an encounter? There is not. Okay. Do we get lost? We do not. All right. So, okay. So now it is actually 10:17. That lair has been cleared, and we're back in town, and we're going to see how many light horse with bows we were able to pick up. If you've been enjoying these actual plays, please do take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like this, and check the description below. You'll find links to the things I'm using in the game. I often get questions about that. If you see something, though, and you don't know what it is, feel free to make a comment about that. And also, there's a link there to my Patreon if you want to support the channel. I'll talk to you soon.